left my son on red recently.
Oh,
Yeah, I ain't never had to do that before, but I had to because I'm like, you just gonna have to figure this one out, bro. We all have different lives.
True.
One thing I do know, which is consistent, if you want something bad enough, you will do whatever you can to get that. When it ain't about doing whatever you can to get it, when you tell me you want it, I don't want to hear it because we can all find excuses in every turn when it comes to getting in the way of what we want for ourselves. To dream of going to NBA, you thought it was just going to be a smooth ride, bro? You thought you was going to be able to dream it and say, I want to go to NBA, and it's just going to happen? Do you know all the barriers that's going to get in the way in life so you don't get there? It's hard for me as someone who went through all that, be uncomfortable, struggle, not want to do it, but end up doing it, and then end up getting what I wanted. I'm like, you got to get on the other side of hard. Like, that's the only way you reach what you want. You gotta go through hard. And so when you're getting complaints back about the hard, I get it. Who the cares?
Really know if this is my last time, but what I know is I'm feeling just fine. My life is like a red carpet, and I'm feeling like the richest millionaire. This is my local mayor, and I'm the biggest star around here. What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement, still moving. I guess I'm back for a little bit. You know, you see the thumbnail, more importantly, you saw the clip, Dwayne Wade. I'm using this clip because it's a part of parenting where you can have the same parents but be raised different. And the reason is that I'm talking about this is because it's not like what he said was wrong, but because of his situation as a father, it's something that's blatantly obviously wrong about this. But we got to talk about us as parents and us as children. And sometimes if you're a parent and you look at your parents and if you have siblings, y'all didn't treat me like you treated such and such. Sometimes, you get a different parent because you're in a different stage. Like they were a different age, and you were a different age than your sibling. That's true. So of course, you're not going to be the same person. Of course, you're not going to get the same parent. And then we had to have the conversation of that. To me, probably more important. Sometimes your parents are just raising you at the level of your ambition or wants and desires out of life. Sometimes your parents aren't as tough on you as other kids because the other kid doesn't want to be much in life. So you got this big dream, so now they got to parent you according to this big dream. And your siblings don't really have a big dream, so it looks kind of lax. It is kind of lax because one of the things a parent is there for is guidance, and parents to give you opportunities to find what you want to do in life. But if you one of those people who just don't find what you want to do in life, they can't guide you anywhere. Then I get to the blatantly obvious part about this is, one son wants to be in the NBA and one son wants to be a girl. And the question, goes, okay, he's supporting his children differently because they're different. But then the question is going to arise later in life. Are you going to keep supporting the boy that wants to be a girl, as they age and become adults at the expense of the other boys? You get what I'm saying? Because I'm sure he's there for all his kids, but when parents have a kid that's driven and a kid that's not driven, they always say, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? A closed mouth don't get fed. And usually that means all the attention goes to the screw up. And over time, as people grow up, they go, that's just trifling. That's terrible. Like I didn't have to do all this stuff with this person that I had to do with you, is what a parent would normally say. So I was, I was more hands on with them because they needed more attention. And then you go, yeah, but now they 30 and you still giving them attention. And with me, since you figured I could figure things out on my own, I never got that type of attention. You cut me off at 14. So you're the same parent with different, but you're the same parent to all of the siblings, but you're different with each one of the siblings, which makes sense. But then it becomes an issue over time. Like, I think you like them more, not because um how can I say this? They're less ambitious, but I think you like them more because you're willing to tolerate their BS for extended period of time because you've given up on the the aspect of this person can stand on their own 2 feet at some point, or I'm gonna make them. So you have siblings and family members that don't get along because of this type of stuff. Because of this type of stuff, and then it becomes an issue, a huge issue. And now you have people who are struggling as adults because, and this is where parents, I would say, mess up. You expect the kid that's got it figured out to help you take care of the kid that ain't figured it out yet. And most kids when they're adults go, I ain't absolutely not. And then they start looking at their parent a certain way because it's like, well, why you never nipped this in the bud? And then you could say, oh, it's out of love, and I won't give up on my child. But on the flip side, the other child would be like, or the other children might be like, but you gave up on me a long time ago when you was like, you grown, you got this. And but that also goes to going in a different journey. You know, if you go a different path, you got to get a different type of guidance. So that I get the one that's playing basketball. There's got to be a level of harshness there because this is about results. And I get the level of softness with the one that want to be a girl because it's like that's the life that they want to live. You get what I'm saying? Um, but there's gonna come a point where publicly it looks like you're showing favoritism. And that goes with every parent and kid. Like when it looks like you go to these extremes for this child, but you really don't go to those same extremes for another child. That's a whole nother thing. But then I gotta say this also. Some kids don't want attention, and some kids do. So sometimes the kid that doesn't want attention, you know, they don't get as much attention. And then sometimes those kids grow up to regret that they didn't get a lot of attention or affection. But then on the flip side, they go, well, that's not what you wanted. And it's like, well, I didn't know that I wanted it. I wanted more attention back then, but now I know. And that's a mistake that people make. But on the flip side of that, the people that want attention, y'all don't know when to shut them off. Like, nah, it can't be about you every day because you got people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. When they get around their family, they haven't grown out of everybody. Look at me, look at me, look at me. And it looks weird. It is weird. It doesn't look weird. It is weird. But you wind up having a different, but you parenting different with each child. But at the end of the day, you become a hypocrite because it's not that your parenting style is the problem, it's that your principles are the problem. So you have a set of principles for this person and a set of principles for that person. And then at that point, it's like, oh, okay. And then and ironically, they don't those things can't switch. And this is what I mean by that. If you got somebody who's driven and you got in the way you parent them, you have certain principles. When they start getting lazier or more free spirited, you like, nah, we're not playing that game, right? And the other person will be like, well, they do this all the time. What's the problem? But what's the problem if I do it? Parent will normally say, but you're not them. It's different. And then the free spirited person is like, I wish he was more like the driven person, but it is what it is. And if they become driven, it's like finally, it's not even driven. It's finally you becoming a responsible human being. Then it's like yes, but they don't want to be that. But the other person is looking like, man, you know, you get stuck in this comparison game because the principles change. Because it doesn't necessarily work the same, and the different kids going to take it differently. Now, basically, the reason I'm talking about this now is because what you see is the product of parents. What you see in society is a bunch of people who had parents, if they have siblings, or sometimes they see even extended family, cousins. They have a different approach to life because of how they were parented, how they were guided, how they were trained in life. And some people have an issue like you wasn't down for me like you was down for them. And then people become parents and go, I'm not doing that because it makes sense on one end and it's dead wrong on another. But I'm going to leave it at that. You tell me what you think. Like, share, subscribe or die trying. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace.
All I ask is when you lay your head on that pillow at night, know I gave you everything I had.